Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, April 30th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see, let me adjust something real quick, but the candlestick that you see right there will be moving and changing. That is because the market is still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movements. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, we are looking at SOFI, and this is somewhat tricky to talk about because it's all about perspective, meaning if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well then from that standpoint, the chart's looking very, very bad for you because there was a bigger pullback. With that being said, if you care about the bigger picture point of view, even with the bigger pullback here, the chart is still perfectly fine. What do I mean? Well, let's just look at where the bases are. So you have a base right there, you have a base right here, you have that base right here, and then down here you have another base. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, well, what do you notice? Well, these stair steps are still progressing in the upwards direction, which is a good thing, which is showing you that the overall trend is still plenty bullish. Again, I fully understand if you're a day trader that bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps. That's why I'm trying to make the point of distinction between somebody that's more so a day trader for somebody that cares about the bigger picture point of view. So overall, the chart is doing just fine. And really the easiest way to continue to monitor that from a support side of things is just to watch that purple line right there, 50 period, it's simple moving average. Keyword being moving, so as time goes by, that line is just going to move itself higher and higher. So it's essentially like a trend line that's drawing itself for you. So from the overarching standpoint, as long as the price stays above the trend line, then overall the trend is still plenty in the bull's favor. In terms of areas of resistance, I would say the main battleground to watch moving forward now going to be right here around that area, give or take around the $14 mark. But all things considered, again, assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, it's been higher highs and higher lows, and that's what you want. Next one, we were looking at WW. I believe this is now the third day in a row I've done on this one, and it has been yet another very, very solid day. If you watched yesterday's video, talked about the bull pennant pattern here and how, so there's a bull pennant. Well, then today got a very nice break up through that area, which has now actually created yet again another bull pennant pattern. So go ahead and get rid of these lines as they serve their purpose for now, and we'll get this new pattern drawn into play here. So the first part of the pattern, just right here, the resistance portion of it. And on the flip side of things, the support, green for support, and then just keep it one color to make sure everybody can see it. So we have our area of resistance, we have our area of support, we have the nice upwards move right here. Let's get the golf hole down here, and we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. As I've said before, just because something's in a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed it's going to go upwards. But would it be shocking? Would it catch people off guard if this thing all of a sudden decided to make another leg upwards? I don't think anybody would be shocked by that. Again, not guaranteed to happen, but it's certainly a plausible scenario. Next one, PLUG. And in fact, as I look at this, let's just start over from the annotations. Don't want to have a bunch of clutter everywhere because we do have essentially a multi-day pattern and the same pattern that we just talked about. But let me show you what I mean. So we have our area of resistance. Again, this is basically, whoops, I can stay red. Our area of resistance. And then we have this right here, our lower part of the pattern, area of support. And then maybe you see where I'm headed with all this. So we have resistance, support, big move up right there. And then down at that level, put the golf hole, another bull pennant pattern. If you also want to keep an eye on an area of support that I think could carry some relevance, keep an eye on that purple line there as I talked about. If that pulls back, you almost have kind of a little double whammy of support. You have not only the purple line right around that area, but you'd also have the lower trend line of the pattern right there. So right around the 92-cent mark could be interesting. But all in all, from an overarching standpoint, multi-day pattern, you're looking at a bull pennant. Next one here, LGMK. And again, like the previous one, SOFI, depends on your perspective in terms of whether or not this is a good or bad looking chart. Day traders, flippers, scalpers that were buying here, whatever they want to call themselves, then wanted to buy and sell within 7 minutes. Yes, from that standpoint, things are not looking good at all because, yes, from where it was here, there has been a big pullback in the downwards direction. I'm actually going to use that line right there to kind of illustrate the pullback that's occurred. But if you care about the bigger picture of things, the price does still have the opportunity to build a higher base because if I draw that across like that, and let's change that to green, and then if we just assume that this area does ultimately hold strong, Well, what do you have right there? Well, this area is still higher than where this area was right here, which is higher than where this area was right here. So again, if you go back to the stair steps side of things, if you envision each of those as stair steps would still be moving in the upwards direction. So yes, if it can stay upside of this pattern, which yes, once again, we have another bull pennant pattern right there. But that's not really the angle I want to just put the golf hold on there. So there's the bull pennant. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to convey is, yeah, it's pulled back from these highs, but it's still got plenty of opportunity to build that overall higher base. So let's see if the price can get that job done or not on Wednesday. Next one here, looking at NVDA, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the previous video, but if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that resistance line right there, which you can see today earlier on in the day. Price came, got the breakthrough there. Not the most explosive breakouts as it essentially just went sideways. However, going sideways after a break is way better than having something break out and then do one of those. And if you've traded long enough, I'm sure you've been a part of a fake break like that. Never a very pleasant experience. So yes, I want to call it the most explosive and exciting of breakouts. However, all things considered, still a way better breakout compared to moving through the area and then just dropping right back down. And it did ultimately put in a higher high here, so we had the high on the initial breakout. But then late day here, you can see put in a little bit of a higher high, so that's encouraging. So I'll go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. And moving forward, the level that I think makes most sense to just continue to watch from a support standpoint is going to be that purple line. You can see the most recent instant of the price getting close to it right there. Did a good job of bouncing off of it. So continue to watch that as the initial area of support and the ideal level, meaning what would make this chart look the strongest. Definitely if the price can stay above that purple line, but if the price doesn't, not the end of the world because not that far away. You then have the pink line right there, that 200 period moving average. In terms of areas of resistance, key level to watch right now going to be right up there around the 110.30 mark. Going through the history of things, you can see right there, rejected the price. And then even late day today, rejected the price right there. So 110.30 going to be a key battleground. But all things considered, nice movement today. And overall, the price is continuing to build those higher bases, which as we've already talked about, that's what definitely matters from the bigger picture standpoint. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description area you can use to click to get signed up. Or if you're watching it at my website itself, there's an area right there on the page you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, DMN, and yeah, it's suspended right now, but still nonetheless want to get things mapped out from the pattern standpoint because there has been absolutely monster volume, billions, and I mean that with the B, billions of shares traded today. So nonetheless, let's keep an eye on things moving forward. So if there is any sort of pullback, the key area of support right now that you got to think a lot of people will be watching potentially is going to be with that pink line right there, which on my chart illustrates that famous 200 period moving average, and you can see actually already this has gone into play very nicely in terms of behaving as a support right there. So keep an eye on that with any sort of pullback. If this thing wants to continue to grind higher and higher though, next key battleground to watch. Whoops, we'll get rid of that. In fact, let's just go to the daily time frame. Each one of these now represents one day, which is what you would normally see. But if this upwards move continues, next key battleground to watch from a resistance standpoint, going to be right up there at 0089. And if this thing continues to just explode, you never know. Next key overarching level up there right around 0.0186. So anyway, look at it. Monster volume. Very nice movement today. Does this get more momentum to come? We'll see what happens with it. But a lot of drama around it. So we'll see how the drama continues to play out. All right, we are back to the 30-minute time frame. Again, just each one is now representing 30 minutes as opposed to that each one representing a day, which is what we were just looking at. And yeah, we are back to a pattern that hopefully sounds pretty familiar. You know, I don't even know. Did I say the ticker symbol? We were taking a look at HIMS. Again, HIMS. As far as this, though, this should all sound familiar. As I said, we're looking at the pattern. Here we have a bit of a pullback. But on the flip side of things, we have a nice little upwards move right there. Let's change that to green to represent support. And then just to make sure everybody can see the pattern. Resistance. Support, big move up, golf hole down here. We have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So I know the other bull pennants and bull flags are on lower price stocks, but if you like things up in this price range, maybe you like to trade options or whatever, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, PLTR, and I'm actually bearish on this one headed into Wednesday, and I'll explain why. So we have that part of the pattern. Then we have that part of the pattern right there. Change that to green. And this is a rising wedge pattern, which is actually a bearish pattern. Now, when I say I'm bearish, that doesn't mean that this is going to have some sort of, massive, reversal or crash or anything like that. But is there going to be some sort of pullback? Is it plausible to think there's going to be a pullback? And in my opinion, yeah. But a pullback, again, it's not the same as a crash. So before you start getting all angry in the comment section, I'm not calling for a crash, not calling for a reversal, but the pattern does suggest that a pullback may need to happen because, again, a rising wedge pattern is a bearish pattern, and this is a pretty textbook rising wedge pattern. So we'll see if that plays out or not. But overall, like I said, if you were to force me into a corner, I'd say, yeah, I'm seeing a rising wedge. Therefore, I would expect more of a pullback over the next couple of days. Next one, taking a look at BBAI, and this will mean a little bit more sense, or actually way more sense to those of you that watched yesterday's video. But if you didn't, I talked about that red line there, mapped it out in yesterday's video, talking about how right around that 367 would be a key battleground point. And you can see today that played out very accurately right there, rejected the price right there, didn't quite hit it, but close, rejected a bunch of times right around there. So while that's not to say that 366 cannot be broken, it is to say that, yes, apparently there are a whole lot of sellers and so on hanging up around that area. That is a very bearish area. Again, doesn't mean that it can't be broken. But right now, if the bulls are going to be able to push through that area, they're really going to have to bring their A game in that regard. In terms of preferable levels of support, I mean, hey, Clay, what make this chart look the absolute strongest going forward? If the price could stay above there, that would be a very, very impressive sign of strength. But if it can't, by no means the end of the world, because not that far away, you have the 50-period moving average, and then from much more of an overarching standpoint, the price is still nicely up above that 200-period moving average. But yeah, as far as what makes the chart look the absolute cleanest, absolute best moving forward, let's see if it can continue to hold above that trend line right there. And then, yeah, grab your popcorn for 366. We'll see if the bulls can try to break through it on Wednesday. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And boy, do we have an interesting final 30 minutes here. Again, this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the previous videos. But if you did, hopefully remember we talked about 288.50 as a key area of resistance. And you can see that actually played out very accurately this morning. As the price came up here, it got smacked right back down. However, now as we look at the last 30 minutes, check it out. The candle has actually broken up through that level. So now we get to ask a very exciting question. Is this the start of something even bigger? Now think about that question. It makes no sense to ask it if nothing worthwhile is even happening. But that's not the case here, right? Because something worthwhile is happening. Therefore, it makes total sense to be throwing out the question, all right, is this going to be a huge, big breakout? To be fair, maybe this thing rolls right back over. But again, to be fair, it's a two-sided coin because, well, I mean, maybe this is the start of an even bigger breakout. So very, very interesting dynamic here with Tesla last 30 minutes. It's got the break of that key technical level. Is this the start of more momentum, a start of a bigger breakout? Definitely grab your popcorn and Sour Patch Kids for Wednesday. So that wraps up the top 10 lists. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool, then definitely go get signed up for the class. It'll be later this week, Thursday, May 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So hope to see you there. And then as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so you're notified when new content is released. I also live stream, so make sure to check that out if you're interested in seeing the live stream and seeing some live trading during the day. So thanks for hanging out. Everybody go get signed up for that free class, and hopefully I'll be seeing you here on Thursday.